It's the third Sunday of the new month, which means this is our program for our healing service as well today, and we will get into that in just a little bit. Anyone here for the first time this morning in the audience? Yes, would you please introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, my name is Patrick, and this is my wife, Mary Ellen.
Welcome.
Hello, hello.
The stewards.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Anyone else the first time? How about on Zoom? Anybody new there? You guys see anybody?
Nope.
Nope. Ulsters? Okay. Good. Well, welcome everyone. This is the year 2024. Our themes for January, our goals for the year, our spiritual planning, and resilience. I'm looking forward to every time I hear the speakers talk about these things to give us new ideas, new things to think about each and every month as we go through the year. Our musician for today is Patti Hummel. We have a little sound problem over here, so she's going to do things
all acoustic. Patti Hummel?
all acoustic. So
I'll sing loud.
she will play a little something for us, and then we'll go into meditation.
This being our healing service, I'm going to do an ancient Buddhist chant. It's called Teata. It basically asks for healing and to be able to see what truly is and what really isn't. So settle down, feet flat on the floor. Close your eyes if you'd like. And let's begin. Teata om bekkenzi, bekkenzi, maha bekkenzi, ratut samukatu soha. Teata om bekkenzi, bekkenzi, maha bekkenzi, ratut samukatu soha. Teata om bekkenzi, bekkenzi, maha bekkenzi, ratut samukatu soha. Teata om bekkenzi, bekkenzi, maha bekkenzi, ratut samukatu soha. Soha, soha. Teata om bekkenzi, bekkenzi, maha bekkenzi, ratut samukatu soha. Teata om bekkenzi, bekkenzi, maha bekkenzi, ratut samukatu soha. Teata om bekkenzi, bekkenzi, maha bekkenzi, ratut samukatu soha.
Let me hear a little noise.
We are here each and every day on purpose, and we know this. It is up to us to find out what our purpose is through God and as God, in God. Our goals for the year, our spiritual planning, and our resilience all comes into play for us. It is up to us to decide how we want to live our lives daily. We're so grateful to have this time together and to connect with each other and God. I give great thanks for this and so much more. And so it is. Thank you, Patti. That was wonderful. It's time for our spiritual thought, and I'd like to ask practitioner intern Jacque Stringer to come up and give us a little spiritual boost this morning. Good morning, Jacque.
Good morning.
Yeah, you can applaud. It's okay to applaud.
Hello, everybody. Feels like I haven't been here in a while. Been doing a little traveling back and forth December and January, which kind of brings me to, I like what Nancy, is it Nancy Moore?
Yes.
It had to say about goals and for the year and making them intentions. I'm like, okay, I can get down with that. I can get down with just having an intention, and hopefully it comes through, because sometimes my goals don't always pan out the way I anticipate them to be. But one of the things that I did last year is I just really did a lot of self-education, and that's really what my intention is for this year as well. Books, audiobooks, documentaries. I just was really into just learning stuff, whatever it was that excited me. I was like, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to use my time wisely this year. And I feel like that was a very good practice for me, and I'm just going to continue that. And one of the things that I did for myself is I purchased a ticket to a conference for consciousness. Kind of a weird thing to buy a ticket for. It's like, consciousness is free. Why do you need to buy a ticket for that? But there are so many people out there that know a lot more than me, and I love learning. So this last weekend I was in San Diego, and I got to see 9 doctors, scientists, speak about consciousness and their specific forte of it. And the weird thing is that I felt like I was in church. I was so like filled with the spirit, because what they were saying was what I was feeling, and what they were coming to finally find out, that science and spirit is really one and the same. And their language may be different, and how they may come about it may be different, but all their case studies and their methodology really put together, and it made more sense to me of what I feel inside. It's like, oh, they're putting words to how I feel. And growing up sometimes in religion doesn't always get it right, but there's always something of truth within every religion. And some things I didn't resonate with growing up in Christianity, but some things I really did. And consciousness and this whole way of thought, this new thought, it just was really interesting to me. And the whole idea of intention is really where I'm going for this next year. It's It's part goal, it's part spiritual planning, part resilience. I think it's all in it together for me. And one of the speakers, her name was Lynn McTaggart, and
She's good.
she's very good. I hadn't ever been introduced to her. I was there to see Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Anita Morjani, and several others. And I just sat there and listened to this doctor just preach. She was preaching. And I was like, wow, like just her methodology on intention. She has great books called The Field, which is spirit. I know many of you are older than me, so you've been there, but for me, it was just like, oh, wow. I was like a little kid in a candy store, just eating it all up. But what she is really good at in one of her books was the Group of 8, getting groups of people together and basically, you know, praying, and how when we focus on one person, we focus on the whole, and how when we pray for one person, miracles start to happen in our lives. And I was like, wow, that's just so beautiful to hear a scientist speaking these things that have always rung true in my life. And what she had some really interesting statistics that I'd like to share with you. And she said, due to the COVID restrictions, 1 in 5 of us were traumatized due to that separation. And that harms us as humans. And so her job and what she liked to do is get people together, even if it was over Zoom. And so she continued to do these Power of 8 groups over Zoom and continued to get information from them to figure out what was happening. And one of the things that she studies is PTSD. And currently, just in the United States alone, 61% of men and 51% of women already suffer some form of PTSD. And further, 50% of heart patients typically have issues with their heart just because they're lonely, And so all this separation and this trauma and this loneliness is really the biggest epidemic that we're facing today. And I think that's so sad because we have such lovely, beautiful humans in this world. And my hope and my intention is to spread love and to be love and to accept that love back. Sometimes people get into this habit of giving and giving and giving and they don't accept. And I've been kind of guilty of that in the past. But now I'm like, if I'm gonna give it out, I'm going to expect it back in a healthy way. So it just made me think about all the things that I really am looking at, and I look at how my own thoughts are my frequency, and how my attitude and my beliefs are my vibration, and being aware, just being self-aware that every breath I take, if you listen, like, it's the sound of God in our voice. And just by breathing and just by having that lovely thought, just by having and being love, I'm producing love. And being aware of that, to me, magnifies that when I go out. And knowing that what I want, this manifest, time to manifest, is just really about keeping that frequency of love within me. It's not about, oh, I want $1 million or I want to be famous or anything like that. It's more of like, I want love and I want to give love. I want to experience that because that's the only thing that really matters. And really, it's just about being aware every moment of where you're at, what you're doing, what you're saying. I have kids still at home, and sometimes I do forget. I'll just, you need to do this, and then I don't realize how they're taking it. So it's really interesting to see the mirror effect in front of you with your children, with other people, because I know if I'm feeling frustrated, it's probably something within me. So I'm just really doing a lot of reflection. That's another thing that I want to continue to do in this next year. And just continue to be a source of happiness and generosity, because it's infectious. It's just like a social contagion, any other contagion out there, us being happy can also be contagious. And there's a ripple effect, and that's what one of the things that Lynn speaks about. And one thing that I found really interesting is that one person who touches 50 people within a year has a chance to ripple out to 1.5 million people. Just one person with a network of 50 people has 1.5 million people by the end of the year feeling that happiness. So even if you go about and you may just be seeing 10 people, it still is going to make a difference. And that really hit home to me because I don't go out a lot. I like to stay home. I like being home. So I was like, okay, there's hope. There's more people out there, and the more I can give, I feel the more that I can get back as well. So that is my intention for 2024, and I'm just excited to be here. Thank you.
Beautiful. That was a beautiful story. Thank you, Jacque. You got to meet a lot of fabulous people. Oh my goodness, you must have been buzzing.
I was a fangirl.
Fabulous. That's fabulous. Yeah, and we do. When we give love, we receive love automatically. We know this. It feels good to give out to somebody else because you're receiving at the same time. It's a give and take in this life. Beautiful words. Thank you so much. Only live twice.
Or more sometimes.
Come on.
Depends, huh?
Yeah. But make this one count.
Depends on how many times we go around, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. It's time for our main speaker. I want to bring up Reverend Bob Hand. Good morning, big guy.
I always like to get applause before I start because I don't always get it after.
Not true. Very funny.
I'm going to talk about the theme of spiritual planning, but I'm a very logical person. Now, some people say too logical. Logically, you can't be too logical, so I'm going to go ahead with it anyway. But it seems to me logically that to plan where you want to go, you have to know where you are, right? If you don't know where you are, how can you plan any place that you want to go? So I think for spiritual planning, we need to start out with who we are, where we are spiritually. And I've been reading a book particularly on ancient Greek philosophers. And it's interesting that as a sort of serendipity thing, Angie was also reading a book on ancient Greek philosophers, not the same books. I'm sure mine was much more sophisticated, but it covered a lot of the same things about these epiphanies that these very early philosophers had. And so what I want to do to find out who we are is take us on a trip to where we are right now. So we're going to start in ancient Greece. We're going to go to ancient China and then back to modern science and see if we can take all of those, put them together, figure out who we are. So many of us know that in New Thought, Plato's given a lot of credit for some of the early concepts that we believe in New Thought. But as it turns out, and Angie and I both read about this, so we got to discuss it, more than 100 years before Plato, there was another philosopher, Parmenides, who had come up with this new concept, new at least among the Greek world. And it was the idea that ultimate truth isn't what's around us. Ultimate truth is this abstract, unchanging, eternal concept. and that everything we see and experience are just forms of this ultimate truth. And so Plato, of course, later took that with his idea of everything first exists as an idea, and then we manifest it in effect into the world. But this Parmenides came up with this first essential, one unchanging, eternal, ultimate truth. And let's take that idea and go halfway around the world to China at about the same time, in about the 5th century BC. There we have, if you will, the ultimate oneness, the Tao. In China, around that period, the concept of Taoism starts. And I know you're all basically familiar with it if you've heard me talk before at all. The Tao is the concept of oneness. It's all one. And many of you know the symbol for the Tao. The symbol for Taoism is this circle. This circle is the one, the Tao. And within it, there's this sort of bit water drop shape, two of them, one dark, the yin, the other light, the yang. And the key to this is the diversity, the dark, the light, the up, the down, the right, the left. The yin and the yang are the diversity of the world. But the key is they don't come from the outside. They don't come outside anywhere and imposed within the oneness, the Tao. They come from it. In the Tao Te Ching, it says, from the one comes the two. So even though they're the beginning of diversity, they are also part of the one. And this develops who we are. Now, if you're familiar with that symbol, you know that within the dark section, there's a little circle of light, right? And within the light section, there's a little circle of dark. And I believe that's who we are. We are those little circles inside the yin and the yang. And what's interesting about that, what this tells me is our essence, our souls, aren't just in the yin or the yang, they're in both at the same time. Now, if we say the yin, the dark, is the spiritual world, let's say the yang, the light, is the physical world. Those dichotomies. And yet we are in both of those at the same time. Our essences, our consciousness, for most of us, tends to stay in the physical realm. But we're in both. When our bodies pass away, our essence, our soul, doesn't go from the physical to the spiritual. It's already there. We're already based in the spiritual. It's just that our consciousness shifts to that realm. And so we have the Greek philosopher telling us ultimate truth is a one, eternal, unchanging truth. We have Taoism telling us that all is one and that all diversity comes from that one and is a part of that one. And so what does science tell us? Again, you've all heard me talk about the Big Bang Theory, not the television show, the theory. It's the most widely accepted concept in science about the origin of our universe. And among the other things, one of the things it says is that the first nanosecond of the beginning of the universe, there was one energy only. one energy started the universe. That energy, as the universe expanded, became many energies, became matter, protons, neutrons, electrons, etc. But remember, just like the yin and the yang didn't come from outside the oneness, the Tao, they came from within it, and they are still it. Everything in existence comes from the one energy, and it's still that one energy, just in a different form. It's kind of like if you had a stack of clay, you have a big pile of clay, and you take it and you form part of it into a plate, and part of it into a cup, and part of it into a vase. Now, one person's going to look at that and say, well, you have a plate and a cup and a vase. You have three different things. Another person's going to look at that and say, well, you still have the same clay. It's just in different shapes now. And that's how reality is. There's still just the one energy. In New Thought, of course, we call that the divine energy. There's still just the one energy, and it's in millions of different shapes, but it's all the one. And so we've taken Greek philosophy, ancient Greek philosophy, ancient spiritual belief from China, and new science, and shown that it all tells us the same thing. It all tells us that there's one energy, and everything is a form of that one energy. And so when you look around and you see a tree or a rock or a chair or a person, it's all just a form of the one energy. And remember, we say that it's one in both the physical realm and the spiritual realm. And so if you see spiritual guides, if you see angels, for that matter, if you see demons, they're all just a manifestation of the one energy. And that's who we are. So if we are the one divine original energy, that's our starting place. What do we say about spiritual planning? And I think it gives us two choices. One choice is simple. Hey, it's all just the original energy, no matter what happens to me. Terrible things can happen to me, or wonderful things can happen to me. Whatever it is, it's just all part of the one energy. Why do spiritual planning when it's all one? That's legitimate, that's okay, you can take that course. But others have a different concept. I believe the divine energy is all intelligence, correct? It's all things, it's all intelligence. Intelligence has purpose. Now, we all know I'm brilliant, but maybe not as brilliant as the one divine energy. I don't understand what all of that purpose is, but I do think we can look and see some things. We can see that as humanity as a whole, there's movement towards greater consciousness of the divine. It's not a straight line movement. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But it's going that way. It's going that way to where the consciousness of humanity becomes more in line with divine consciousness. And we have a choice. We can ignore that and just say, let it be, Or we can say we want to be an active participant in that process. We want to be an active participant in lifting the consciousness of humanity. And if we want that, we do spiritual planning. Now, spiritual planning is tremendously easy. I mean, what's the plan? I want to raise my consciousness. How do I do it? Oh, there's so many ways. There's meditation, there's classes, there's videos, there's seminars, conferences, all kinds of ways, books you can read. It's easy to make a spiritual plan. It's not necessarily so easy to carry that plan out. That's the hard part. If you want to go that way, how do you do it? Well, it can be done on your own. It can be done. People have done it. But that's the hard way. You know, if you want to go on a difficult trip, if you're smart, you want to find somebody who's been on that trip. Have them help you. Have them tell you where the issues are, how to get there, what the problems are. And that's what we can do with spiritual planning. There are others who have been on this trip. There are people at the PLC, there are people at Emerson Theological Institute, and many others we have access to. To me, if you're serious about not just making spiritual plans, but following them and carrying them out, go for assistance, ask for help. Get involved in a class, a conference, a seminar, just a one-on-one. I mean, if you're really serious, join our spiritual discussion group. Right? We meet once a month, and we guarantee, money-back guarantee, enlightenment for you. Of course, you don't pay any money, so a money-back guarantee doesn't get you a lot, but you've got it. But again, there's lots of options. And sometimes we feel like we're out there on our own, but we're not. We're a family here. There's a bigger family beyond that. So I say this, spiritual planning, make your choice. You have free will. You can just be part of the is. Just go with it. Whatever happens is still part of what is still part of divine energy. But if you want to be an active participant in the spiritual development, then make your plans. Get some help. Go to those people who have been on that route for a while. None of us, I think, are all the way at the top, but some of us have gone part way and we can help you out. Get that help. Keep at it. If we can all do that, what a difference we can make. But I guarantee you this, a spiritual journey will be the most satisfying, most meaningful trip you ever go on in your life. Thank you.
Yes, spiritual trip. That was beautiful, Reverend. Thank you. Fabulous. Great ideas, great reminders. We're all on our way. Some are further advanced than others, I guess. Fabulous. It's time for our healing service. I'd like to ask Reverend Sandy to come up and lead us on this. Yes.
I love this time of the service. To me, it's all about healing, becoming more in line with Source, being all we can be. So let's close our eyes and wiggle around and settle into our chairs, finding a level of comfortness. As you breathe in and out, Feel yourself expanding, knowing more of yourself than this body. For there are so many bodies around the physical one. Become them, expand, and allow yourself to start floating upwards. Floating, floating, floating upwards. And as you come closer to the totality of the divine, allow yourself to merge with whatever you can. Allow it to merge with you. Feeling it, knowing it, being it. Oh, the gifting of being all we can be. The gifting of bringing that back into this world. The gifting of knowing that we are. God is, we are, and all is well. Who could ask for more than that? And it is ours, freely given, freely accepted, freely embraced. The beauty of the divine is ours. We have it within us, within our hands. We have this, accepting it, being it, sharing it. The sharing of the heart through this. The sharing of the beingness through this. Sharing, sharing, more sharing. That's what we live for. That's what life is all about. It's not about aloneness. It's about the allness that we are. Allow that allness within you. Allow that allness to be more and more and more, for this is what the world needs. The world needs the loving allness. It needs it to heal, to put the band-aids on, to make whole. That is the gift that we bring to this world, to ourselves, to this church, a gift like no other. We've never had a Christmas present or a birthday present or any present that can measure up to the gift that our relationship with the divine imbues us with. You breathe it in and you breathe it out. You breathe it in and you breathe it out. Day after day, minute after minute, nanosecond after nanosecond. Always the divine incarnate. It is something special, something beautiful, something awesome. And this is what we are. This is what we do. This is how we live. This is all the allness that there is. Allow it to be yours. Allow you to be his, to be sources, to be the divine. Oh, we are so needed. As you allow yourself to start to drift back into your knowingness, to drift back through all those energy bodies that you are, to drift back into the human body that you are inside this building, to anchor back down within this body with your feet securely grounded. Feel that sense of the beauty of the divine anchored deeply within all of us, anchored deeply within the earth. Oh, feel it. This is what the world needs, and this is the gift that we bring. This is why us being born, us living is so important. We are important. We make a difference. Our livingness, however we do it, makes a difference. Allow all that doesn't support this to drift away from you now. Going up into the cosmos and home to source to heal. Allow all of that you can't heal yourself to drift upwards. You don't have to do it yourself. God is there for us, the divine is there for us, source is there for us. Whatever word you use, the allness of it is there for us. Being all it can be, all it was meant to be. Allow yourself to be aware of your breathing in and out of your body. Allow all of this knowing to be a part of your current memory that will stay with you forever. There's no need to hide from this, only to embrace it and to allow it. Becoming aware of your body and where you are, this building, the people on either side of you, knowing that together we are all holding this frequency, holding it grounded, holding it full of love, that it will go out from us day after day, moment after moment. Unceasing, loving kindness. Who could ask for more than that? We are the gift that keeps on giving. And I accept the giftedness of all of us, knowing that God is, we are, and all is well. And say with me, please, and so it is. And when you're ready, open your eyes.
Wow. That felt so good. It is time for our offertory. Could I have a couple of volunteers come up and help me with the offertory this morning? There's one. Maybe you're on your own this morning.
I can do it all.
You should
Be in
get-
charge.
Now let's do our offertory prayer. Divine love flowing through me, blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for giving this morning to PLC. Thank you, Patti. Yes, the deer were out. I think we had like maybe 12 of them this morning coming out. And I was telling Reverend Sandy that after the men's group meets here and I step out, I've got them right next to me at my car. They're just so open and so peaceful, and they know that they're not being threatened by me or anybody else. It's just a beautiful thing to get that close to a beautiful being like that. Gorgeous. And those on Zoom this morning, I know that Reverend Missy has put the information on how you can give toward the PLC. And you can also, if you receive Luana's iFocus email that comes out each week, it also shows you how you can give to the church at any time you like. And if you haven't signed up for the iFocus and want to receive that, look for Luana this morning and she'll sign you up right away for that. And it tells us what's going on each and every week at this fabulous center that we belong to. I also want to remind everyone that we have a frog box in the back left-hand corner as you head toward the main doors. There are sheets of paper there, and you could fill out a prayer for yourself or someone else in need. I collect those, and myself and the rest of the ministers and practitioners pray on those. And believe me, prayer works. I keep hearing so many fabulous results from the prayers that people receive. It's just beautiful. Any announcements this morning? You want to have announcements? LJ? You're nodding. You want to come up?
I do. I have an announcement. I mentioned last week about the possibility of doing partnering for some spiritual conversations. 2 books that were brought up were this thing called You by Ernest Holmes, and the other one is Spiritual Practicality by John Randolph Price. Both of these books, for Joe and I, have brought us into great spiritual conversations. We'll read just a couple pages of each in the morning, and I wanted to invite for this winter while we don't have classes, that anybody that's interested, that, I'll have you sign up. Today I'm the sign-up sheet because I don't have the sign-up sheet. So reach out to me and I'll help you get connected with someone else so that you can potentially 2 or 3 together by phone, Zoom, in person, whatever you're called to do, can have some maybe 30-minute, 45-minute, an hour, whatever each of you chooses, so that you can have these wonderful nuggets of spiritual conversation. So if you would like to do that at all, just reach out to me today and I will have a sign-up sheet next week, okay?
Thank you.
Yes, question?
Can I share something kind of special that happened to me? I went to visit my girlfriend and her great grandmother was terminal and she was not getting out of bed, closing her eyes. They thought she was gonna pass this week. And I went to visit my girlfriend, she's a fellow nurse. And so I said, let me meet your grandmother. And so I went and I gave her a kiss and then I held her hand and I said, would you like me to pray for you? And she said, yes, so I prayed for her. And then her family came over and they walked in the room and said, oh my goodness, she's up in a chair. And they couldn't believe that she was doing so well. And I just kind of smiled.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing.
Well done.
Another sign that prayer works. God works. We know this. Beautiful story. Thank you. I'm sorry, what?
All the time.
All the time. Everywhere. Any other announcements? Okay. I will be speaking with you next Sunday. I look forward to hearing what I have to say. I hope you do. And it's time for our prayer protection. And they are on these cards for those of you who are new with us. You have a card in front of you at your seat. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. The energy of God is me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Amen. Amen. Patti, you having a song for us?
Sure.
I give great thanks for Patti today for her music and Reverend Bob for his message and for Practitioner Jacque for her spiritual thought. It's been a fabulous morning with you. And I want to thank Reverend Sandy for guiding us through that prayer circle this morning. It was fabulous, really fabulous. God bless you all. We'll see you again next week. Take care.